U.S. President Donald Trump says that he has been indicted in the federal probe over his handling of classified documents after leaving office. Republicans are rallying behind him and calling out President Joe Biden for using the legal case to implicate Trump. The political scenario is getting murkier before the 2024 presidential elections. In our next report, we explain whether Trump can still become the next U.S. president.
I'm an innocent man, I'm an innocent person.
Donald Trump's legal woes have just worsened. He says he has been indicted over his handling of classified documents. He is the first US president facing federal criminal charges, a big blow as he pursues a second White House term. But Trump isn't backing down. He maintains that he is innocent and doubled down on the Biden administration.
Our country is going to hell, and they come after Donald Trump, weaponizing the Justice Department, weaponizing the FBI. We can't let this continue to go on because it's ripping our country to shreds. We have such big problems, and this shouldn't be one of them.
Trump is not alone. Despite the internal differences, the Republicans are firmly rallying behind him. Taking the charge is U.S. House Speaker Kevin McCarthy, who trained guns on President Biden. He called the indictment a dark day for the U.S. Other key Republican figures, including presidential hopeful Ron DeSantis, threw their weight behind Trump. President Biden says he has no influence over the Department of Justice and how it handles former President Donald Trump.
Because you notice, I have never once, not one single time, suggested to the Justice Department what they should do or not do, or else to bring a charge or not bring a charge. I'm honest.
Trump says he has been summoned to a federal courthouse in Miami next Tuesday, the day before his 77th birthday, and the mood on the ground is divided.
I think it's the rule of law playing out, and I think it's a good thing that the Justice Department's doing this and that they're doing it the right way, doing it in Florida. There's no advantage for the government. It's a sad statement, and it's a dangerous moment for us in our history, but an important one for people to stand up and realize it's not just Donald Trump either. There's still just a large number of people who support him no matter what he does.
Investigators seized roughly 13,000 documents from Trump's Mar-a-Lago estate in Palm Beach, Florida, nearly a year ago. 100 were marked as classified. Trump has previously defended his retention of documents, suggesting he declassified them while president.
The walls around former President Trump are closing in from a legal perspective. These are very serious charges.
Trump was already the first former or sitting president to be charged with a crime, in his case over election eve hush money payments to a porn star who said she had had an affair with him. That indictment was handed down by Manhattan's district attorney in March.
This is arguably the most legal trouble the former president has faced, despite the fact that he was indicted on separate charges in New York City and faces a multitude of other investigations, including a second special counsel investigation related to conduct tied to the 2020 presidential election.
If Donald Trump is elected president, he will be able to pardon himself. Whether or not he will use this issue campaigning moving forward, and whether the Justice Department handed him a unique campaign slogan, well, that's yet to be seen. Susan Tehrani reporting from New York for WION World is One. For more on this, we are being joined by Stephen Golub from Philadelphia. He is a lawyer and a political analyst. Stephen, welcome to WION, and thank you so much for joining us. The question many are asking is, how serious are these indictments? And if the former president is charged, can he still run to be the next U.S. president?
Well, first of all, these are very serious charges. They're unprecedented. And of all the actual and potential charges that could be brought against Donald Trump, this is the most straightforward case. Regarding your second question, not only can he run if he's indicted, he can run for president and serve as president even if he's in prison.
And there are those that say, considering the fact that he's the front runner in the Republican camp as of now, this is a lot more than simply a legal battle and a legal dispute. There are political implications in this, no matter how you look at it, considering the fact that President Biden, former Vice President Mike Pence, and others also had classified documents and they were mishandling them.
Yeah, that's a good point, a couple of good points. But regarding President Biden and former Vice President Pence, they fundamentally differ. Their situations fundamentally differ from former President Trump in at least a couple of ways. First, there's no indication that they intentionally took the documents. Second, after they found out, or really their own lawyers and aides determined that they had some of these documents, they went to the government. They said, we want to turn them over. They were above board about it. In contrast with that, former President Trump tried to obstruct the government from obtaining the documents, rejected or objected to a subpoena, tried to resist it, and possibly, very possibly, even lied about what documents he had and what was going on. So they were very, very different types of cases that differentiate the other two from former President Trump. In terms of political implications, a week is a long time in politics. It could be a very different discussion a week or a month from now. But right now, it seems as though Donald Trump may be benefiting in terms of the race to get the Republican nomination by virtue of these indictments, people rallying around him, even some of his opponents. But it could hurt him in the general election against President Biden if, in fact, former President Trump does win the Republican nomination.
And finally, what do we expect moving forward? We do know that the next step is for the former president to appear in federal court in Florida. How long is this expected to take, and what will happen after that?
Well, I'm tempted to say forever, in that any kind of case, a federal case, or any kind of court case in the U.S. can take a long time to actually reach trial. It's possible that President Trump won't come to trial due to normal procedures and due to delaying tactics on the part of his attorneys. It's possible he may not come to trial until shortly before or even after the election. In other words, he may be running during trial or even before the running for president at the same time that these things are going on. Two additional points. Number one, this may be one of only up to 6 different cases that President Trump is indicted or facing some kind of legal responsibility for next year. And two, let's not overlook the fact that this trial will be conducted in Florida, where the jury pool may be more sympathetic to President Trump than the other potential site, Washington, would have been. The judge who's appointed may be more sympathetic to him. And Florida is a place where you're more likely to get rallies, even outside the courthouse, of his supporters very, very favorable to him. So that's an politically interesting venue to hold this trial. The federal government, the special prosecutor, has decided to hold the trial there for good reasons, but it opens up another real political can of worms.
Right, and not to mention that Florida is the state of Governor Ron DeSantis, who's also running against Donald Trump. On Twitter, he was sympathetic towards the former president. We'll have to see whether or not that continues moving forward. Stephen Golub, thank you so much for joining us and for that analysis, and I look forward to speaking to you again very soon.
Thank you.